Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Everybody's going to be talking about is there's a New York Times story that came out about an hour ago that says that when you came into the White House, you were paying about $750 a year in federal income tax. In your tax return, sir, does that sound right that you were paying a couple $100s a year in federal income taxes?
No, it's fake news. It's totally fake news. Made up, fake, totally fake news.
Is it? Is it totally fake news? I don't know. Look, my biggest thing with the whole tax thing with Trump, and I've said this from day one, is he's not as wealthy as he makes himself out to be. He's what you call asset rich, cash poor, meaning he's got assets worth a ton of money, but he doesn't have cash. Hence the reason he's got so many loans. He's lost a bunch of money, and at the same time, stuff has grown in value. He's paid $750. 2 years. I don't really care about anybody's taxes. Remember, Steve Bannon told Trump, hey, raise the wealthy's tax. You know they're not going to pay it. You don't pay it. Raise it to 100%. That doesn't matter. Figure a way around it. He's paid a lot of money to his daughter and to everybody else. Shelter money here, shelter money there. By the way, it's been going on forever and a day in the world of taxes. You go back and look at the highest tax rates we've had in the country, the higher it got, the less money at times that we took in. Why? Because people figure out a way to shelter it. They figure out a way to shelter it. Is this a big something or a little something? Depends what side of the aisle you're on.
On the New York Times story, though, you have to understand that when Americans read that you may have paid only a few $100s in federal income tax per year, that seems very low for someone who's a billionaire. So how much?
Basically, they're saying I paid nothing.
Can you give people an idea of how much you actually are paying?
Well, first of all, I paid a lot, and I paid a lot of state income taxes, too. I will tell you that I look forward to releasing many things. I'm going to release many things, and people will be really shocked.
Will they? I don't know. Still waiting for your health plan. I know it came out, but it was always 2 months after 2 months after 2 months after 2 weeks after 2 weeks. People get frustrated. The average Trump supporter could care less. They don't know. Right? I'm moving on with my life. I don't care. The never Trumpers, this is another opportunity to go, see, he's the worst person in the history of the worst person in the history.
This is one of the most important stories of the past 5 years. It's because as a candidate, Donald Trump fought hard to shield his tax returns. And as president, he has fought even harder to shield his tax returns from public scrutiny. So this is the kind of information that we are going to be hearing about for days and weeks to come, and including on the debate stage in front of 60, 70, 80 million people on Tuesday night. No doubt Joe Biden will be studying this New York Times story and thinking about how to bring it up at the debate.
Yeah. He probably will. He's going to continue. Brian Stelter, he's always hair on fire, and he's got no hairs, which is incredible. But does it matter to anybody? That's a big question. So if you like Trump yesterday, you find out that he hasn't paid that much, that he's got a lot of stuff due, too. When you look at some of this stuff, and I've gone through some of it, it's a lot of wonky and boringness. There's a lot of stuff due. In the next couple of years, he's got a lot of big loan payments out there that are going to come due. Does he have the cash for it? We'll see. The reality is for you, the average cat out there, you just hanging out, you like Trump. Does this change anything when it comes to that Rick Santorum?
As it is with a lot of the traits of Donald Trump that are, let's just say, less than desirable. I think people have looked at that and say, okay, fine. But look at what he's doing. Look at the policies he's putting forward. Look what he's doing for the country and the economy and in trade and a whole bunch of other things that they believe are important, the court, et cetera. And I think that's what they're going to vote on, not personal things that are problematic for him.
Yeah. You're going to ask yourself the simple question when you go to vote that night. You like the way he is. You like the fact that he's a fighter. Maybe it's a headache every now and then when it comes to his tweeting. That I can get. But did he do some of the things that he said he was going to do? He's drawing down our troops. He's bringing them home. Check. Taxes. Check as far as lowering the tax rate. Right? The court. Check. And we'll get to that in a second. He's doing some of the things that he said he was going to do, and he's checking off the box. regulations. Fix the hell out of some of those things. Thank you very much, sir. Has he been a pain in the ass for some people? Yes. The average person, I don't think really cares. The average person that likes Trump. I have some serious questions with this. And the biggest question is, did you do something illegal? Did you do something illegal? Because if you use all of the framework that is available to you, meaning you had your tax guys and gals, and there's plenty of them, figure out ways to use the system legally to have some losses here, to carry some stuff over there, to depreciate some things here, to carry over losses for several years against income that's coming in now. If you did that and it was all legal, then at this point in time, it's a moot point. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. So this weekend, it was what? It was it. Amy Coney Barrett. The worst kept secret, Friday night. We knew what was happening. By 6 p.m. East Coast, 3 p.m. on the West, it had been leaked out of the White House that Amy Coney Barrett was going to be the pick. And everybody knew it was coming. She had interviewed with him several times during the week. And she then was announced Saturday.
I stand before you today to fulfill one of my highest and most important duties under the United States Constitution, the nomination of a Supreme Court Justice. Today it is my honor to nominate one of our nation's most brilliant and gifted legal minds to the Supreme Court, a woman of unparalleled achievement, towering intellect, sterling credentials, and unyielding loyalty to the Constitution, Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
Trump came out, made the announcement. Producer Phil and I were talking about it earlier, that it was the worst kept secret. Maybe CNN and a lot of other the news networks didn't follow it as hard as I think some people thought it would. But I said CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, they broke away from regular programming to carry this. I thought he handled it well. And she's got a compelling story. Now, the question is, what does it look like in the battle? And the battle is coming.
This should be a straightforward and prompt confirmation. I'm sure it'll be extremely non-controversial. We said that the last time, didn't we?
It's going to be. It's going to absolutely be. I was trying to figure out today, I'm like, so, all right, what are they going to do? Like, what are they going to do? How do they frame her in a way? Because we saw what they did with Kavanaugh. Look, you can dislike Kavanaugh. You can look at him and scream white privilege or all the things that you want, you want to scream at somebody. You can do all of those things. At the end of the day, though, I found that thing to be an absolute farcical, it was a kangaroo court that was a joke. That was an absolute joke. And I think the way that Christine Blasey Ford was treated, and the way that the Democrats used her in such a way, and have you heard anything else really from her? Kind of threw her away from there. They did. To me, it was a joke. Gorsuch was pretty straightforward. This is much different because of who she is and her belief system. And that is massive. Her belief system.
If confirmed, I would not assume that role for the sake of those in my own circle, and certainly not for my own sake. I would assume this role to serve you. I would discharge the judicial oath, which requires me to administer justice without respect to persons, do equal right to the poor and rich, and faithfully and impartially discharge my duties under the United States Constitution.
Congratulations, Amy.
Blah, 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 blah. What's that mean? She's an originalist. She's very much like Scalia. She clerked under Scalia. Scalia loved her dearly. Scalia, obviously the most conservative justice they've had for God knows how long. and the person everybody looked up to on the right side of the aisle. She is a big proponent of Second Amendment. She is a pro-life person, but that is, I think more people are worried about what's going to take place immediately after she's confirmed, which is the Affordable Care Act. That's what more people are worried about at this moment in time. The Affordable Care Act. What happens from there? How does that play itself out? Because it is going to be in the court.
You're a Catholic. Do you think it's appropriate for Democratic senators to ask Judge Barrett about her Catholic faith?
I think it's appropriate for people them to ask her how faithful she would be to the Constitution of the United States, whatever her faith. It doesn't matter what her faith is and what religion she believes in. What matters is, does she believe in the Constitution of the United States? Does she believe in the precedent on the Supreme Court that has upheld the Affordable Care Act?
And that's the big thing. The precedent of the Affordable Care Act. This thing's going to be challenged. It will probably be her first case. She's really been vocal about it before. And the fear factor is, even with Chief Justice Roberts, who has ruled and been the one that essentially upheld the Affordable Care Act, even with that, it's still 5-4. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program. Hope all is well with you. A lot of stuff to squeeze into today. We still got more with taxes. We got more with coronavirus. We got a big debate tomorrow night, which is going to be a slugfest. Oh, my goodness. And we've got a former NFL superstar, Hall of Famer, thwarting a kidnapping. Oh, yeah. Wait till you hear this story. Rough Greens. So my dog Doodle, you guys hear me talk about Doodle? Doodle's crazy. Doodle's old. We adopted Doodle. We thought he was like 6 years old. Turns out he's a lot older than that. So he had all kinds of issues. He doesn't have those issues anymore. He runs, he bounces, he does things that he's never done before. We started giving him Rough Greens 6 months ago, and it's changed his life. It has. It's got vitamins, minerals. It's got probiotics. It's got omega-3, 6, 9. It's got everything that you can think of that brings your dog's food to life. It's not dog food. You sprinkle it on your dog's food, boom, and away it goes. Less than $15, $14.95 for a 2-week jump start. In about 7 days, you will see a massive difference. If your dog's young or your dog's old and's got some ailments, like Doodle had arthritis, he had fatty tumors in his hips, now he's a totally different dog. You will see it. This is what I want you to do. Give it a try. 2-week jump start, $14.95. Roughgreens.com/Chad. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Or call 833-MY-DOG-88. 833-MY-DOG-88. Rough Greens. We make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Hashtag me too. Hashtag immigration reforms. Hashtag help. I'm trapped in a hashtag factory and I can't get out. The Chad Benson Show.
First of all, you can see now why he did not want this stuff to come out. The poorest person I know paid more in taxes than Donald Trump. I think that's just shocking to anybody. And I do think that some stuff is baked into the cake. I think people say, listen, he's a smart business guy. He gets away with paying fewer taxes. That's great. I'm all for it. You have people who feel that way. Others will feel differently. You should pay your fair share.
Yeah, I totally agree. Pay your fair share. Now, here's the thing. Did he do anything illegal? Based on everything that's in, at least the New York Times is reporting on, there doesn't seem to be. There's questions about the consulting fees and things of that nature, but is it illegal? Doesn't seem to be that way. So this tax thing, look, you should pay your fair share. Right? I'm having a battle right now because what's a fair share? You come back to me, I haven't lived in your state for 3 years, California, you want money from me? I feel like that's ridiculous. Because I had a piece of mail sent to my mom's house? So somehow you think, that's the insanity I think people frustrate, like for me, I get frustrated with. Fair share is fine. But if you, let's just say your expenses outweigh your income and you don't really have an income and you lose money, should you pay taxes on your losses? No, that's not what we had. If you want to fix the tax system, if you're worried about tax and all this, if you really want to fix it, you know what you do? You go in, you have a flat tax rate, and you get rid of every little bit and piece of write-offs out there. Now, you can't go in and say, well, we're going to raise it to 75%, because that's ridiculous. But if you go in and say, all right, you know what? You make X amount of dollars, your first 100,000, you pay 15%. Second 100,000, that rises to 20%. And you get to the point where you're paying 25, maybe 30%, but that's it. And you get rid of the write-offs and things of that nature, then what you'll start to see is money come in. If you say to somebody, you know what, you've got all of these things over here that you can do with your money, and we're going to raise your taxes to 90%. Then you go to your person and say, all right, they want to raise my taxes 90%. What can I do in this situation where I can have shelters? I can put money in certain situations and have those things pay bills and the whole 9 yards. They'll say this, this, and this. And all of a sudden, your hope of 90% of something, 70% of something, 50% of something becomes virtually nil. Every one of you listening right now, when you go in, I don't care where you go, right? H&R Block or whatever it is, you're always looking for the most that you can do to deduct. No different than anybody else. I think the average person could care. Even the average person who's not a Trump fan thinks, well, of course, if you've got to see everybody who has that kind of money, if you've got to see everybody's taxes, you'd be like, oh my God. People get mad at like Amazon and Bezos. Yeah, but you guys weren't around, the first 15, 20 years where they lost billions of dollars. Look at Uber. They're losing billions of dollars a year. Of course they're going to carry that over. Otherwise, nobody would ever start a business if they can't be able to write off the losses that come in the first several years, especially a business that size. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Debate tomorrow night. Should be interesting. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Hi. Hey, guys. Senator Harris, it's a pleasure to finally see you and finally meet you.
Thank you. I'm a huge fan of everything from Fast and Furious, all of them, to Jumanji. So
thank you so much. I have never publicly endorsed a presidential candidate or a vice presidential candidate over my career. So I figured let's kick this conversation off this way by me officially publicly endorsing you both.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Joe Biden has no idea who that is. Has no idea who that is. Zero ideas. It's The Rock, by the way, endorsing them. But he's like, thank you. Who are you? You're in the moving pictures? Are those the soundies? Yes, we call them soundies now because they have a sounds. Thank you. Kamala's like, all right, this guy's famous. This guy's the Five and the Furied. Thank you, Vin Diesel.
Joe, you've had such an incredible career. You've led, in my opinion, with great compassion and heart, but also soul. How will the both of you earn the respect of all the American people once you're in that White House?
By doing what we say we're going to do, by keeping our word, by leveling with the American people, by taking responsibility. We're not going to be perfect. Our administration, DJ, is going to look like America. It's going to be representative of all of America.
We'll see. Tomorrow night is the first shot. And I've been saying this over and over again. Trump, if you believe the polls, And it's hard to believe the polls. Do I think at this moment in time, Biden has a bit of an advantage? I do. I'm not going to BS you guys. I'm going to give it straightforward. I think he does. Do I think it's 10 plus points? I do not. I think there's an underrepresented sample that is not being talked about. And if you see and talk to a lot of people, you know that people keep their mouth shut, especially now. I mean, the MAGA hat, you wear that. And my uncle, perfect example. So if you guys don't know, my uncle and I, very close. He's my best friend. He's my business partner. We're not too, I'm actually a year older than him. If you saw him, you say, how are you guys related? Big, giant Mexican dude. Oh, my God. Yeah, we're blood. We are. My aunt, she's black. Oh, jeez. She tells him all the time, Paul, don't wear the MAGA hat. Because he likes to. Because he's most definitely, and producer Phil will back me up on this, he's the world's biggest troll.
Indeed he is.
Ever. But he loves Trump. He's not afraid to say it. But there's a lot of other people out there that were afraid in a certain setting at this moment in time to say that they would support Trump. And I think that's even more so than 4 years ago. In saying that, I still think if it was held today, it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a landslide, but I think Joe might pip it. But it's not being held today. Trump has the championship rounds. If you're a fan of boxing, there's a championship rounds. What is that? That's the 10th, 11th, and 12th. Why? Because even though you may be behind on the cards, you have a chance for a knockout blow. And I think that's what Trump is hoping for when it comes to the debates. Tomorrow night's the first one. People are asking him, what are you doing to get ready?
We had a little debate prep before we came here. I think this whole thing, though, is debate prep. You know, what I do is debate prep every day. I'm taking questions from you people all the time.
And, you know, people are asking, well, why isn't Trump doing more? What doesn't he do when it comes to this? Let's be 100% honest, right? You can have a disdain for Trump. You can absolutely. I do another show. My on-air partner, not a big fan of Trump. Not a huge fan of Trump. Like some of his actions. Can't stand the man. But he said to me the other day, he's like, man, I tell you what, the guy's out working Biden. He's going to 3 swing states in one day. Biden's been putting the lid on stuff by 9 a.m. 9 times this month, he didn't do anything at all. He's not taking any questions. Now, you could say, I'm going to go and debate all day long, but Mike Tyson used to say it, and he said it all the time. Everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the face. That's the truth. Everybody has a plan till they get punched in the face. And when it comes to Trump, he's okay with getting punched in the face. Almost wakes him up.
A little time. I mean, not a lot.
More or less than
I'm running the country.
He's running the country. He's doing his thing. That's what he does. Tomorrow night is Trump's first opportunity to make a move. Tomorrow night's his first opportunity to step up and to, guess what? Show, hey, I've got it going on. You may not like me. You may hate everything I'm about, but this guy over here, this guy, whoo, he's a struggler. He's absolutely going to struggle from top to bottom. He's absolutely going to struggle. So be prepared. If you want somebody who's going to struggle day to day, who's eventually going to be in a situation where he may have to hand it off to somebody else, even though you may not like me, you're going to have to go, I don't know if I want her to run the country based on her beliefs. I think she's capable, but I also think some of the craziness that the extreme left, and that's been my issue, as it is always. I'm a free agent every single election cycle. I'm pissed that we don't have better choices that represent the larger swath. I'm pissed that there's too many people that get beholden to parties themselves because they're corporations. And to be part of this, you got to be part of the corporation. And that frustrates me. But I see one corporation, if you will, who's pushing an agenda I'm not a fan of. I see one corporation that is pushing an agenda that, quite frankly, it unnerves me a little bit. It does. Do I think America's going to go down the tubes? Look, if Trump's president for another 4 years, we'll still be here in 4 years, and we'll still be fine. If Biden's president for 4 years, and I say that, we'll still be here, and we'll be fine. Will we potentially have to dig out of another hole? I don't know. We always say this. Oh, my God, it's the worst. Everything's the worst. It's not the worst. It's just frustrating. And yeah, I have some issues with some of the things out there on the uber left. The progressive side of it, I have some serious issues with them. The average classic liberal Democrat, zero issues. But you see what's going on in the streets across the country. Case in point, Portland.
Back in May, when the protest started, did you have a gas mask or any of
No,
that
of course I didn't have a gas mask. I mean, I had face masks for COVID, but none of us had gas masks. I think we've raised about $30,000 this week to buy bulletproof vests because it turns out that we might need them.
Why? Well, because the Proud Boys are coming. And what do we hear? Oh, it's all the Proud Boys' fault. It wasn't anything big this weekend, like a lot of people. I thought it was going to be very much like an old school 1980s, early 1990s European soccer match where the English would show up and they'd get drunk. The Dutch would be there and they're drunk. And the next thing you know, they're fighting in the streets. It was nah. But I have a serious issue. Look at Portland, the way it's run. Wheeler, an absolute joke. You've allowed this to happen. Places across the country, you've allowed things to happen that you shouldn't allow to happen. We've got this I hate America thing going on that is tremendous in our schools. I talked about my little brother last week, my mom. My little brother's, he's got special needs. He barely can read. He's in 5th grade. He's got dyslexia bad. He's got defiance disorder. His dyslexia is so bad. He's a smart kid outside of that, but he still has real serious problems comprehending. Like serious problems. It is nuts. And in English, they're teaching him, it's supposed to be English helping him learn how to read, about his privilege. And all of this stuff. It's insane. Yeah, I got an issue with that. Who doesn't? So my mom clicked out of the little session, the Zoom session, and the teacher's like, why'd you do that? My mom's like, because teach him to read first, right? Teach him to comprehend some of the stuff. He's his special needs. And you're teaching about stuff that has zero to do with the things that he needs. You're talking to him about privilege. What privilege? The fact that his dad, whoever he is, we know, disappeared after ending somebody's life? Really? This is the insanity that we live in, and I call BS on it. So yes, I have problems with some of the progressive side of it. Do I want to see people have health care? 110%. Do I think people should pay their fair share? Absolutely. What's the fair share? Do I want to see, like everything, I want to see cleaner energy. Nothing wrong with any of those things. It's the way that they want to do it, by ceding everything to them and the power to them. And that scares me. In the spirit of things, like everything else, I was listening to Thomas Sowell today, and he said, it sounds great, socialism, but the reality is much different. And that is true. That is true. They want to fundamentally change everything. And that, to me, is not good. Oh, it's capitalism's bad. Show me why capitalism's bad. Show me why. Name one thing that has taken people out of poverty the way that capitalism has into prosperity. We live in a nation where even if you're the poorest person on the money scale of things, compared to the rest of the world, you're wealthy. Our poor have phones, they have cars, they have televisions, and in many cases, they have air conditioning. Can things be better? Absolutely. You know what's better? Government gets out of the way. That's simple. Get out of the way. When government starts to show up more and more, you find out that they want to be the sole leader of things that you turn to in your life when you have an issue rather than yourself. I'm for states' rights and personal responsibility. Nothing wrong with a hand up, but a hand out over and over again is ridiculous. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Raycon's best earbuds around. Normally for earbuds like this, you may pay $250. These earbuds are so amazing. I mean, they're so incredible. You're going to pay well under $100. I'm going to give you a 15% discount as well. 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth bearing, better sound design, better quality, better fit. And I like it because I go out and I play sports and I go work out. You know what I don't have to worry about? Stems and wires, trying to push them all the way back in so it doesn't fall out. Never have to worry about that with my Raycons. You will love yours. The quality is amazing and they're cool to look at. Get yours now by going to buyraycon.com/Chad, buyraycon.com/Chad, buyraycon.com/Chad. The best earbuds around. Period. Case closed. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
TikTok got an 11th hour reprieve. It was on the brink of being banned from U.S. smartphone apps, but a federal judge decided that would violate the company's First Amendment rights. The Trump administration argued the owners of TikTok posed a threat to national security, that personal information on millions of Americans winds up in the hands of the Chinese government. The judge disagreed.
Yeah, so TikTok got a reprieve, and for a lot of people, that is a big deal. It is for a lot of people. Are there issues there? Absolutely. Do I trust China with anything? I do not. I'm not talking about the Chinese people. You always preface that. But the reality is no, it's tough to trust anything they say. I'm always amazed at how many people are like, they will stick up for China. Their disdain for Donald Trump and for what this country is, they stick up for China, and it is amazing to watch them do it. China is full of it. Everybody bow down because they want the dollar that they provide. Whether it's the movie industry or the business industry. And part of that's our fault. Guilty, all of us. Me too. We like cheap goods. We love cheap stuff. You don't want to. You already feel like, man, my iPhone's really expensive, but it's worth it. Of course, that's what you think, right? Your iPhone's expensive. It's totally worth it. You want to pay $4,000 for your iPhone. But we've got to be better in what we do in the way that we compete with them. We're trying, like everybody, not just us, but globally, everybody's trying to play a game that's fair. They're not. And they could care less. They go out and they do their own thing. They go out and do their own thing with very little repercussions. I wish Trump would have been harder on them. You see what's going on with Disney and the way that that Mulan movie. Right, which I was excited to see, and then I realized, you know what, I'm not going to do it. They're thanking the people at the Xinjiang province who've built camps to house the minority Uyghur community. Disney's doing that? That is insane. That is. But we're going to have to fight this. And this is the battle that is going to happen sooner rather than later. We have to decide in the coming years, starting immediately, does the world want what we have to offer, or do they want what China has to offer? Is that what you want? You'd be surprised how many people say, whoa, I think it seems like a pretty good system. Yeah, sure you do. Till they start to shut you down. Let's ask Hong Kong. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program.
Another day, another chart record broken by Taylor Swift. Her album Folklore, once again number one on the Billboard 200 album chart for a seventh week. That means Swift has spent more time at number one than any woman in history, beating the late great Whitney Houston, who'd held the record since 1987. Swift has now logged 47 total weeks on top, and she'll likely add more to that tally during her career. The overall leader, a little group called the Beatles, with 132 weeks. Elvis Presley's the top solo male with 67 weeks.
Yeah, so she'll catch Elvis probably, I don't know, she's young enough. But here's the thing. You're young enough, yes, but we're fickle. So she is the biggest thing, and in 3 years, she may be relegated to, her. I remember her. That might not happen. She might sustain this for a longer period than any of us think. But we do tend to change quick, don't we? Probably not going to catch the Beatles. I would say she's going to catch Elvis. I would think she's going to catch Elvis. But we'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows. Your Twitter, tweet at us, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. What do you think about Trump's taxes? Is this a big nothing? Is there more to it? So far, they haven't found anything illegal, so as far as I'm concerned, it's kind of a nothing. But I'm sure this isn't the end of it. I think we all know that. Text the program, tweet at us, check out Chad Benson Show TV on the old YouTube. This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
This is one of the most important stories of the past 5 years. Because as a candidate, Donald Trump fought hard to shield his tax returns. And as president, he has fought even harder to shield his tax returns from public scrutiny. So this is the kind of information that we are going to be hearing about for days and weeks to come, and including on the debate stage in front of 60, 70, 80 million people on Tuesday night. No doubt Joe Biden will be studying this New York Times story and thinking about how to bring it up at the debate.
No doubt. No doubt somebody was reading that to Joe. Saying, all right, Joe, taxes. Trump, taxes, avoidance. I love that. Here's a question. New York Times said, well, there's nothing illegal about what he's done. Some questions. Okay. Is anything illegal? Because if there's stuff illegal, we got to really talk about that. If there's stuff that you don't like, because the wealthy, by the way, the wealthy across the board, the well-to-do across the board, you and me, all do what we can to pay as little as possible. Yeah, really, do you drive 150 miles a week to work? Well, no. Oh, okay. But do you claim that you do and use your this for work or that? Oh, maybe. I don't know. Somebody just wrote me and said, I'm surprised he paid that much. Yeah. Brian Stelter, this is going to be the biggest story of stories. No, it's not. I never once expected him. I'm surprised he didn't pay that much. Here's what he is. Not as rich as he says he is, which I've always said Trump isn't worth. And he's cash poor. He has a lot of assets, but he's cash poor. He's got a ton of stuff that's worth a lot, but liquid assets are small. If he's done something illegal, then we need to get into that and delve into that. But I don't really see that. Not here. Now, there's more to it. We're just getting a portion of it. And remember, there's a difference between the personal income tax and then your corporate tax. All of that plays into this because he's not just a person that goes and gets a singular paycheck. If there is more, let's figure it out. Right? If that's what you're so concerned with. I like at the CNN, he's avoidance. What has he done? Well, he's avoided paying taxes. No. He's using the stuff in front of him that is available to the people that do his taxes legally to write things down that he's lost money on. Has he inflated some things? That's a possibility that people are going to look at. when he's going for loans. And that's one thing we're going to talk about because, like I said, cash poor, asset rich.
But I think this goes even deeper than that. The New York Times, quoting here, Mr. Trump has been more successful playing a business mogul than being one in real life. This gets to the heart of the president's campaign 4 years ago, that he was the star of The Apprentice who knew how to bail out America. And by the way, the Times says this is only the beginning. They say other articles are in the works in the coming weeks.
I'm sure there is. But every one of us out there has add a little something, something. Your tax guy looks over you and goes, hey, you know what? Do you use this? Yeah. You have receipts for your lunches? Yeah. All of us. So let's just, is any one of you out there looking to pay the most? Producer Phil, are you looking to pay the most out of your taxes every single year?
Oh, hell no.
Thank you. Thank you. Avoidance, of course. And he has lost money, and he could show it on paper. Every single person. Do you think, like The Rock, people are pissed off because The Rock came out and endorsed Kamala and Joe. And people are like, man, you think The Rock pays? No. Look at Johnny Depp and the hell he's been going through. All of his stuff, his finances, and what he owes or doesn't owe. Do you think, yeah, of course. Everybody's looking for it. How do I pay the least and make my dollar go the furthest? That's what it is. Now, we could fix this if we fix the tax system. But at the end of the day, did he do anything illegal? Did he do anything illegal? The average person, they don't care about any of this crap. The average person's like, I care less about this. Others, they seem to care. He does have some big loans out there that people are looking at.
Here's what's new. His brand is I'm strong. His brand is I'm independent. His brand is nobody can tell me what to do. If it turns out he is a weak loser who's in hock to other countries, he's basically not in office trying to solve your financial problems. He's in office trying to solve his own. And he's now vulnerable to anybody who can call these loans in. That's a very different discussion. This isn't just shenanigans as usual from Donald Trump, for which he's already inoculated. This dude is in desperate need for money.
Yeah, he's cash poor. Now, if you take his assets, all of the stuff he has, his golf courses are worth probably a couple $1 billion, all of his properties and whatnot. If you take that and you liquidate it and you paid off all the stuff he owned, he'd still be sitting much better than the average person and doing all right. And dare I say, his brand has been hurt. A good portion of America that can no longer stand him. A good portion of the world that can't stand him. Now, there's some that do like him, but the reality is there's a good portion of this. I'd say his brand has been hurt. But he's right. He's got issues. He's cash poor. But at the end of the day, does it hurt him? Nah.
As it is with a lot of the traits of Donald Trump that are, let's just say, less than desirable. I think people have looked at that and say, okay, fine, but look at what he's doing. Look at the policies he's putting forward. Look what he's doing for the country and the economy and in trade and a whole bunch of other things that they believe are important, the court, et cetera. And I think that's what they're going to vote on, not personal things that are problematic for him.
Yeah. I don't think anybody is. If you like Trump yesterday, you still like Trump. If you don't like Trump, well, you don't like Trump. None of that stuff's going to change. That's where we are at this moment in time. Courts, trade, immigration. For a lot of people out there who used to like Trump, they look at this and say, he's really screwed this up with COVID. There's a lot of blame to go around. Has he been too flippant at times? Yes. Has he, poo-pooed it away? Absolutely. Could he have done some other things? Yes. Empathy's not his strong point. We've talked about that. Every one of us out there has had a relative or my grandfather, later in his life, was much warmer and closer. When I was growing up, I used to hate to go over to my grandfather. I loved my grandmother, but I couldn't stand to go be around my grandfather because he was children are to be seen and not heard. There was no weakness. There was no empathy. Like you'd see other people go over to their grandparents. Like, my grandma gave me $20. What'd your grandfather do? He yelled at me. For what? For chewing too loud or something. Trump doesn't have that in him. It's just not his thing. At the end of the day, if you loved Trump yesterday, you still love him. This doesn't change. If you hate Trump, this is another reason to have a disdain for him. That's all this is. Tomorrow night will play itself out in a big way. The debate, it'll be here. Chance for Trump to make a statement and for Joe Biden to make a statement, too. Let's not forget that. Joe Biden has a chance to make a statement big time.
President Trump has to do something to shake up the race, to draw some blood from Joe Biden. But the job for Biden is huge as well. He's got to reassure people. There's still a small sliver of undecided voters out there. President Trump's voters have more enthusiasm. He's got to reassure people that he's not the socialist that President Trump keeps saying he is, that he's up to the job. And if he does that, I think that's going to be enough for him in this debate.
It could be, but he's got to prove that. People are worried. They see what's out there on the progressive side of the left side of the aisle. And I'm not talking about the average Democrat, right? Maybe a union Democrat, okay with pro-choice, right? Marriage equality, but loves America, good with the Second Amendment. I'm not talking about that average Democrat. Even a moderately conservative Democrat still goes to church. I'm talking about the left side of the party that people worry about, that scream about government needs to be basically everything. We need to hand everything over to the government. By the way, when's the last time government ran anything well? Outside of spending your money, when's the last time they ran anything great? Exactly. A little quiet. It's going to be interesting tomorrow night. Because Trump has a chance, and I'm interested to see what Chris Wallace does, because Chris Wallace has been very critical of Trump. He's asked him some serious questions, and this will be the first time in a long time that somebody really has a chance to get back at Biden for some of the things that he said, not just the misquotes, but also looking back at his record of 47 years and how he defends that. And in debates, the person that's usually the most important person when it comes to the debate is the moderator, because that moderator has the opportunity to ask the second question, to call BS on the first question or fact check him, and then ask the hard second question that will lead to the real answer or the non-answer. Both of them have work to do tomorrow night. And also, Biden has work to do to show that he's there. I don't care what anybody says, even my friends who are I've got some very progressive friends who really don't like Joe Biden as far as his politics, but they do have some serious questions, as do a lot of people, about, are you up for the gig? Trump's going to 2, 3, 4 places a day. He seems to be out there 24/7. You have the opportunity to do it. And what would this be like if there wasn't COVID and some sort of built-in excuse not to go places? That's a fair question as well. Because when you're bowing out at 9 a.m. and skipping days, 9 days this month of campaigning, people have real questions. Are you up for the gig? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Speaking of money, Quicken, let me tell you something. Quicken has turned everything upside down and right side up when it comes to COVID. And I'll tell you how. Time is money. So many of us out there, we're trying to figure stuff out. We're trying to balance. We're trying to get stuff going. Quicken's where you need to be right now. It lets you see all your finances one place so you can reach your goals with confidence. Maybe you need to balance your budget. You need to cut some things. Where am I spending too much? I've got so much excess here. Wow, look at all this stuff. That's where Quicken comes in. You take complete control of your accounts. It's got an easy, comprehensive dashboard to use. Breaks down your spending automatically. You can budget smarter, maximize savings, and right now, that's what you need. 17 million users over the past 3 decades. Quicken is the most popular personal finance software on the market, period, case closed. You get tools, templates, calculators, expertly crafted for more than 30 years of experience. And trust me, it is amazing. I was surprised how much I wasted here, there, and everywhere. And this is eye-opening. And a lot of people are afraid. Quicken's going to help you. Quicken is going to help you. Get the peace of mind and freedom It comes with taking better control of your finances today. Try Quicken risk-free for 30 days and get 25% off when you go to quicken.com/Chad. That's 30 days risk-free and 25% off when you go to quicken.com/Chad. Quicken.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old intranet. What's trending?
Let's find out what's trending around the world. Let me give you guys a guess. Trump's taxes are trending, or lack of taxes. Lots of football stuff. Cowboys, Seahawks. Hell of a game yesterday. Saints. Packers. Patriots. Looking good. Looking good. Absolutely. Nick Foles. I watched a bit of that game yesterday before I went and hit golf balls. And Mitch Trubisky. So know this. You picked Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. You declined his fifth-year option. Chicago Bears. You brought in Nick Foles and gave him money. This was coming for a long time. He's been a bust. And you know what? In life, you've got to step back sometimes and say, this has been a bust. Time for us to move on from this. Head on over to Twitter. Let me tell you what's going on. Got tons of wildfires in the U.S. Trump's taxes. More of Trump's taxes. Bloomberg opinion piece. Very interesting. I did read this. Trump's taxes show he's a national security threat. That true? Do you feel that way? Could he be? Of course. It's a possibility for anything. There's absolutely a possibility for anything. Bezos is because they want a wealth tax, right? And so everybody's going after an annual wealth tax on Jeff Bezos could single-handedly fund hundreds of free preschools each year. Just take all of his money. Just get it. Just go get it. K-pop stars BTS are millionaires in South Korea's largest IPO in years. Man, BTS is rocking it right now. And Sir David Attenborough said, we've overrun the planet. We've overrun the planet. We need to give it back. Mostly it's all about Trump's taxes today, kids. Trump's taxes. That's it. That's what you're going to hear. Tomorrow will be debate. Trump's taxes will be big. The reality is, this is what it is. Up until election night, it's going to be about how evil Trump is or how ill-equipped Joe Biden is. At the end of the day, you go into that voting booth, you vote for whoever you think is the best person for this job at this time. Who do you think is going to get the economy back on track? Who do you think going forward in the distribution of the COVID vaccine is going to be best at it? You have to ask yourself that question. If you think it's Biden, vote for Biden. If you think it's Trump, vote for Trump. If you think a third party is it, vote for it. But what you're going to hear for the next several weeks is slings and arrows. Frustration. Interesting author joins us straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The book, I got the audio version, is enthralling and interesting and shocking, and talking about it let alone writing about it, is also, dangerous in this day and age. Joining us now, the book is called Irreversible Damage, the Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters. Abigail Schreier joins us. And first of all, I just want to say, how does cancel culture feel right now? Because you got Joe Rogan in trouble.
You know what? I seem to have, but I think that they were certainly looking for him. They're giving him all kinds of problems now. Now, apparently, employers are threatening to walk out of his show because I was on it. I mean, this is really getting ridiculous. These are, 20-somethings who have done almost nothing with their lives, trying to take the last uncancelable American off the air.
Which is insane. It truly is. First of all, Abigail, how in God's name did you decide I'm going to take this book on? Because in a day and age of this kind of craziness, even suggesting it, my God, look what's going on with J.K. Rowling and everybody else. To even suggest talking about something like this is almost a fireable offense.
So a reader wrote to me, a reader who reads my stuff in the Wall Street Journal wrote to me, and she asked me if I would take it on. She said her daughter got caught up in this craze. Her daughter, who had always been a girly girl, went off to college, and she had a lot of mental health issues, anxiety and depression and other things. And she went off to college and decided with her girlfriends that she was transgender and started a course of testosterone. And the woman told me this was happening to parents all across the country, that there was this epidemic of teenage girls suddenly deciding they were transgender with their friends, often after social media immersion. And I looked into it, and I realized she was right. There was already some important research that was being done. Of course, it was by Lisa Littman, a public health researcher. Of course, it was stripped off the Brown University website for the crime of honest science. And I just, when I realized, I tried to get another investigative journalist to take it on, and when I couldn't, I realized that if I didn't write about it, I was worried no one would.
Yeah, and it's scary. Look, my goddaughter is now my godson, and I love him to death. And he made the choice a little bit older, but still a teenager. And it is a tough topic. Not crazy though. I will say this: he's not crazy because he talks about the fact that there are people out there that are crazy. But it is amazing how this thing seems to be. It's almost like it's catching. And that's the thing that's scary, because what was it, 0.01% at one time was kind of the range at what this is. Now it seems like it's everywhere.
Right. I mean, the thing to note is this is a social contagion. A social contagion doesn't mean that no one has it, and it doesn't mean that no one's a genuine article. But we know that teenage girls tend to get caught up in these hysterias. We've seen it with so many others, from multiple personality disorder to anorexia, in which they convince themselves they have a problem. They're in genuine pain, and they convince themselves that they've found the reason. And maybe it's, I'm so fat, if I just lost weight, I would feel better. Or it's, I'm supposed to be a boy, and if I just became a boy, I would feel better. And these are not typical, this is not a typical presentation of real gender dysphoria. I mean, I've interviewed a lot of transgender adults for the book. This is not what it looks like. But it is girls in a lot of pain convincing each other to go through these hormones and surgeries. And unfortunately, the medical community is going along with it.
Talking to Abigail Schreier, the book's called Irreversible Damage, the Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters. You talked about the science of it all, and you look into the data, which is awesome, because in this day and age, I'm a facts over feelings guy. We can have feelings. I got no problem with that. But at the end of the day, kind of the facts should be the facts. And what amazes me is when you start to look at the facts, that it starts to break down that most of these kids, when left alone to their own, druthers, they grow away from this, and they realize that they're looking for attention. They're gay, and it's crazy what we're doing. And even when you bring up data, it scares people, and they start screaming at you, "You're a transphobe."
Yeah, it's a little insane. I mean, look, yes, you're right. Most of these kids historically always outgrew it. Today they may not, because what we're doing is we're having therapists agree with them, and doctors start immediate interventions, medical interventions, even minor kids. So, will they outgrow it today? No, we're sort of locking them in. Now, what we're seeing is a lot of regret. We're already seeing these girls who were rushed towards all these physical transformations are starting to regret it in very large numbers, because there was almost no oversight, neither by a doctor or by a therapist.
You know what? They're rushed into it, and it's very interesting because when you read your book, there's a certain sense of celebration in this day and age. Like, you become something different and something to be celebrated, and somebody in the intersectionality world, you've moved up a few pegs, and I feel like there is that pressure to do something because you do separate yourself.
That's right. The girls caught up in this craze are overwhelmingly white, middle-class and upper-middle-class girls. They're precocious, but they're lonely. Their best friend is mom, and they discover this identity online, and it's the first time they really get the approval of their peers, and they win friends. And look, kids today are very lonely. They spend a lot less time with each other in person than previous generations, and a lot more time, online, tunneling into their own heads. So they really aren't very happy, and this is something that helps them win the adulation of their peers.
What happens in the future when the lawsuits come? Because they've got to be lawsuits. You got doctors prescribing stuff that they shouldn't be prescribing, people cheering them on who know deep down if you asked them off the record, they'd be like, I can't believe we're doing this, but I don't want to lose my license and I don't want to be, labeled something. There's going to have to be some repercussions down the road for this because people are going to have to sue because we're a litigious society.
That's right. And doctors are removing young girls' breasts at 16 without so much as a therapist's note. I mean, what's going on is a kind of madness, and that's actually why it was easy for me to write the book in a sense. I have no personal stake in this. This didn't affect my family. I have very, very young kids. So, it was sort of easy to write about because I just thought, wow, this is insane, and the moment that someone points this out, this bubble's going to burst.
What's been the pushback? Because, you point out data and stuff, and we live in a day and age. I talked to Brett and Eric Weinstein a while ago, and they were talking about, schools who are STEM schools were hashtagging, cancel STEM and stuff. People go against their own best interest. And I'm sure there are people out there who deep in their heart know that this is crazy, but they push back on you because they want to seem like it's the right thing to do. What's been the blowback from not just the cancel culture, but even science and other people?
Basically the major newspapers all refuse to write, review it and whatnot. I've gotten a lot of obviously pushback. Honestly, I have tons of my direct messages are filled with people who privately agree with me, and I do think that the view is shifting. I mean, the people who are most angry with me right now seem to be online girls who suddenly transitioned. They're very threatened by the idea that they were caught up in a craze, even though we know crazes exist. Even though many transgender adults tell me, look, this is nothing like what I went through. I didn't do this with my friends, and I certainly wasn't egged on by mentors online. So what some young child has to, 20-something-year-old influencer, maybe it made them angry to hear that a lot of these girls are caught up in a craze, but that really isn't, that isn't what I'm after. I'm trying to examine a phenomenon and decide whether it happened and whether it's ongoing and whether we're dealing with it appropriately.
Where does it go from here? Because it's still growing, and we can't talk about anything in this country, whether it's race or we can't even. We could put a rock out there, Abigail, and people are going to argue about it. But where do we go from here if we can't talk about things like this that seem to be in everybody's rearview mirror and in the front, and we're all afraid to talk about the giant thing that's out there?
That's exactly right. I mean, look, they called me a transphobe all over the media, because of my appearance on Joe Rogan, which was everyone should watch it. It was a very cordial and rational discussion of what's happening to our teenage girls. That's all it was about. It did not claim to talk about the whole transgender experience or what adults go through or anything. And they are trying to pull it off and call it transphobic. Why? Why are we not allowed to talk about the mental health of welfare of teenage girls? It's because they know if they succeed in doing that, if they succeed of taking even rational discussions in the air, then they become our bosses. They tell us what we're allowed to say. So they really, all these woke young people must be opposed, and their efforts to cancel all reasonable discussion must be fought wherever they occur.
The book rocks. It's amazing. I tell everybody, go out there. It's a great study, and it's informative, and it's entertaining to read. And I appreciate you coming on. Abigail Schreier right there. Irreversible damage to transgender craze, seducing our daughters. Thanks so much for spending time with us and helping us get canceled as well.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
There's a New York Times story that came out about an hour ago that says that when you came into the White House, you were paying about $750 a year in federal income tax. In your tax return, sir, does that sound right that you were paying a couple $100s a year in federal income taxes?
No, it's fake news. It's totally fake news. Made up, fake, totally fake news.
Of all the news, fakest of all the news. Be the big story for, I don't know, the next 24 hours. And tomorrow the debate will happen, and the big story will be, let me tell you how this is going to go. Both of them are going to have good opportunities to land some blows. I think Joe's going to do better than some people expect. Even Trump said, look, I expected Joe to do all right. And then the media. The media will say Joe was amazing. He was dazzling. He destroyed Trump. Everything went amazing for him. There was nothing better. He proves that he's up for the job. He proves that Trump can't hit him with anything. He came hard. The average person watching will probably say, Joe did okay, but Trump did okay too. And, probably we didn't learn too much as far as who you may lean for if you haven't already made up your mind. Because that's who this is for. This is for the 80 million people will watch. 70 million people have their minds made up. 10 million people are out there who are undecided, but out of those, 5 million of them are leaning one way pretty hard, just want some clarification, if you will. The other 5, they don't know. They like some stuff Trump's but they also dislike some of the stuff. They like Joe, and at the same time, they're worried about Joe and his health and where the progressive left is taking the Democratic Party. That's not a lot. 5 million voters, give or take, will be watching this with open minds. And they may say, you know what? Joe did really good. And they may say, I don't think I can hand the keys to Joe to drive this vehicle. At least not now. We'll see if he has a lucid moment in the next one. So it'll be interesting tomorrow night. I think it's going to get ugly at times. But I think Chris Wallace will be the most important person in the room because he's the one that will be able to decide which way this debate goes. Does it go into a debate rather than name calling and avoidance? Or does he do a crappy job and allow this thing to get out of control and ridiculous? Then you've got all the other stuff that we're worried about in this day and age of, COVID.
Coronavirus restrictions mean President Trump and Joe Biden will skip the traditional handshake as they make their way onto the debate stage in Cleveland. Once on stage, neither the candidates nor the moderator will wear masks. The president will stand at the podium on the right side of the stage, Mr. Biden on the left, the moderator at a desk facing the candidates, and there will be far fewer in attendance than in previous debates, just a small number of ticketed guests. All will be tested for COVID-19.
Wait, what's happening with Chris Wallace?
The president will stand at the podium on the right side of the stage, Mr. Biden on the left, the moderator at a desk facing the candidates.
Wow. You guys facing the candidates? Like, where else would he be? All right, guys, here's the deal. Trump, you're over here on the right, obviously enough. The right, we'll see where we're going with this. You're over here on the left, Joe. Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President. Appreciate you guys doing this. Okay, Chris, you're going to be here, but you're going to be facing the other direction from them. So you're going to be asking questions with your back turned to them. Does that seem smart? Do we have to really put that? Apparently we do. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us, text the program as well. What happened with Joe Montana?
According to the sheriff's department, a tussle ensued and Mrs. Montana was able to safely pry the child out of the suspect's arms. Joe Montana flagged patrolling deputies nearby that a woman he didn't know just tried to take his grandchild. Moments later, Malibu deputies finding the suspect, a 39-year-old woman, in a nearby home, making their arrest.
Yeah. Is that insane? Yeah, so somebody tried to steal Joe Montana grandchild. What?
Terrifying moments for legendary football player Joe Montana and his wife. a home intruder allegedly snatching their infant grandchild. The LA Sheriff's Department saying a female suspect entered a Malibu home where Montana and his wife were Saturday night. That's when they say she tried to kidnap Montana's 9-month-old grandchild from the living room, then walked upstairs where the Football Hall of Famer and his wife confronted her.
You think? Like, probably somebody who's mentally deranged, I would assume. It's like, that's weird. Like, if you go and look at kidnappings across the nation, most kidnappings, and by most, I mean like 99%, 95% of kidnappings are done by people who have a relationship with the family and or the child already. Somebody wandering into your home and trying to take your child. How shocked would you be to see that? That would be like, what? Wait, what? Insane. Insane. Joe Montana, as usual, there for the save. Him and his wife. What? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Going to be interesting. Trump's taxes, all of that stuff is out there. On top of all of that stuff, you're going to have the battle for the Supreme Court that's going to be front and center as well. Who should get to pick doesn't really matter, right? As far as the voters say, well, the next president or the person who wins this thing, here's the reality of this. Trump's the president now. Obama got his pick. He just didn't get a hearing for his pick because the Senate was controlled by Mitch McConnell and the Republicans. That's the way that works. Trump is only getting this hearing because he's got everything in his favor. That's the only reason this is taking place. He's got everything in his favor. Tomorrow night, this will be a battle as well. The American people may go out there and say, well, I think that the next person who's president should have the opportunity, or the next, the winner of this one should have the opportunity to pick this. It doesn't work that way. And the frustration level is through the roof. And here's the reality of it. There's nothing the Democrats can do about it. Hence the frustration level that's so high. There is zero they can do about it. They can try to stall it. They can try to kick some things to the, to the side and make it seem like it's going to end up being forever in a hard-fought, nasty, awful situation where they never get a chance to hear anything that she says. But the reality is very little at this moment in time that they're going to be able to do. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
On the New York Times story, though, you have to understand that when Americans read that you may have paid only a few $100s in federal income tax per year, that seems very low for someone who's a billionaire. So how much?
Basically, they're saying I paid nothing.
Can you give people an idea of how much you actually are paying?
Well, first of all, I paid a lot, and I paid a lot of state income taxes, too. I will tell you that I look forward to releasing many things. I'm going to release many things, and people will be really shocked.
Shocked. Super shocked. Couldn't be any more shocking to be Shockerson. That's how big shocked it is. Is he bad? Is he stupid? Is he a liar? What is he? Is he a fraud? Are you a fraud? No, not a frog. A fraud! I've said from day one he's not as rich as he says he is. That's his biggest embarrassment. You think he's worth $2-3 billion? He's not. He's cash poor. And he's made some poor business decisions, but he's asset rich, meaning he's got properties that have value. Michael Jackson, when he died, was cash poor. Didn't have a lot of money, cash-wise, but he had a lot of stuff. He had a ton of stuff that was worth a lot. Didn't have the cash. And by the way, when I say didn't have the cash, it's not like you and I. the average person. He could access cash, but he's borrowing against a lot of what he had. But looking at some of this stuff, the biggest question is it illegal? He only paid X amount of dollars, but is it illegal? Did he do anything wrong? CNN's so disingenuous. One thing they know is that business people are at a depth at losing money, and it rewards them. Let me tell you, that's spoken by somebody who's never had a business. I've had several businesses. Some have been pretty successful. Others not so much. You know what you do? You put money into it. I'm not going to risk money if my reward is if I lose it all, or while I'm losing it all and pouring more money into it, I don't have a chance to write stuff down in the future. And by write down, mean pay stuff off. Yeah, there's some stuff in there that's extremely disturbing. Is he a risk to foreign countries? Some people are making that argument, including Bloomberg today, that's making that argument. But several others are saying it as well.
Here's what's new. His brand is I'm strong. His brand is I'm independent. His brand is nobody can tell me what to do. If it turns out he is a weak loser who's in hock to other countries, he's basically not in office trying to solve your financial problems. He's in office trying to solve his own. And he's now vulnerable to anybody who can call these loans in. That's a very different discussion. This isn't just shenanigans as usual from Donald Trump, for which he's already inoculated. This dude is in desperate need for money.
Cash. Because he has some big loans coming up to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars in the next few years. There's an issue there, absolutely, that we should look into. I got zero problems with that. But on the face of it, even though the Times report is scathing, the biggest thing they can come up with is it's legal, but is it morally right? Well, if you lose $200 million this year, so if you lose $200 million, should you have to pay taxes on all the money you lost? Well, no, that's silly. Okay. Every one of you listening right this second, I don't care if you go to H&R Block or that place at Walmart or the person that stands out on the side with the Liberty, looks like the, Statue of Liberty. Come get your taxes done right next to the place. It's a car wash and the laundromat. Woo! I don't care. You go in there, they're going to ask you questions where you can reduce some of your income against stuff that you've done. That is every human being that has a chance. Some people just take it. Well, just going to just whatever it is. It's totally fine. If you have a child, do you not write that down? Well, yeah, of course. But you could leave it, right? You could say, oh, don't worry about that. We'll let the government spend it. Everybody takes the opportunities they have in front of them. Wealthy people, yes, Donald Trump and others will take it and they'll use it. Is it illegal? No. Morally, is it the right thing to do? That's not for me to say. Obama had a chance to fix the tax system that is so broken. And he didn't. Trump's fixed a little bit of it, but it benefits who? Well, it benefits the people who can find the people that know how to work around it. And it's not work around it. This is it. I'm not doing anything illegal. This is put in front of me. I can use all of these things in front of me? Yes. Okay, then. Then I'm going to use everything in front of me. And away we'll go. The question I think that I find to be the biggest question is out there is, did he inflate some of the property values? Who helped him do that, if he did, to secure some of those loans? That's a fair question. How are you really going to prove it? If he hasn't done anything illegal, which at least so far, based on what they have, there's not a lot. You can be angry. You should think he should pay more. But for him to pay more, you would have to take away the system that's available out there that has been put in place by politicians on both sides through the years that also stimulates business because people are more apt to take a chance at doing something. And if you can't carry forward your losses, then guess what happens to the world of investing in businesses across the board? I'm not even talking about massive empires. I'm talking about mom and pop shops. If you can't write off your advertising, your all of your new equipment that you're purchasing, your vehicles, if you can't do some of those things, then what's the use? Right, who's going to invest? Did he inflate? That's a question that people will ask. Right now, based on it, here's the reality of it. It looks like what it is. It's a guy who figured out a way to use the system that's available to him to do his thing. And he's done it. He's done it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. That's up for you to decide if you don't like it. I think most people who like Trump really don't care. I think most people who hate Trump find this to be yet another thing they dislike about him. And for a lot of other people in there going, well, you know what, I wish he would pay more, but at the same time, if he's got losses, well, that's what's in front of him, then he's going to use that which is in front of him.
I stand before you today to fulfill one of my highest and most important duties under the United States Constitution, the nomination of a Supreme Court justice. Today it is my honor to nominate one of our nation's most brilliant and gifted legal minds to the Supreme Court, a woman of unparalleled achievement, towering intellect, sterling credentials, and unyielding loyalty to the Constitution, Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
And like that, everybody's freedoms were robbed and taken away. What? Yeah. It's going to get ugly. Let's just understand what's coming with SCOTUS. It is going to get ugly. They're scheduling all they possibly can.
Chairman Lindsey Graham of the Judiciary Committee, he has said he's going to begin hearings on October 12th. Again, the average time from the paperwork hitting the Senate to a hearing happening is 40 days. So, we are well short of that.
Yeah, but there's been Sandra Day O'Connor. Confirmation was 33, and the judge Jones, whatever it was. I think he was like 17 or 19 days. So it's been. They act like it's never been done. It has been done before. It has, and the reason things take longer now because it's not like these people are unknown. Most of these people, Amy Coney Barrett, Barbara Legow, who was on the short list as well. They've just been confirmed in the last 24 months. So it's not like they're coming in fresh and we don't know anything about these people, right? They're already sitting in courts across the land, federal courts at a high level, appeals courts, the 7th, the 11th, the 9th. We know who they are. So we've met, if you will. The difference is now everything is a show because you have to make sure you show your base that you will fight till the end. And you will die on that hill. Gorsuch, they kind of just went, we're gonna let it go, right? Because it's for Scalia. We didn't have our guy have a hearing, but the reality is we didn't have the Senate, so that's just the way it goes. Kavanaugh, tooth and nail, and more. Now her. And the question is, what about a vote?
So October 12th, 13th, and 14th, 3 days, possibly 4 for hearings. And then there'll be another sort of grease lightning race to a vote in committee. We think that's going to happen possibly as early as October 22nd. And then that sets up easily for Mitch McConnell, the majority leader, to hold a full Senate confirmation vote before Election Day.
There you go. And that's probably what's going to happen. So we'll see. What are they worried about? They're worried about a few things. Mostly, they're worried about something that people aren't even thinking about that will take place immediately after the election, the hearing for Obamacare.
The judge has a written track record of disagreeing adamantly with the Supreme Court's decisions on 2 occasions upholding the ACA.
Yeah, Obamacare, ACA. She's not a fan of it. She wants it gone.
There's no mystery about what's happening here. President Trump is trying to throw out the Affordable Care Act. He's been trying to do it for the last 4 years.
And the Republicans before Trump have been trying to get it gone forever and a day. And they've failed. They've had opportunities. They've not really put forth anything I thought was worthwhile. It wasn't awful. It just seems like much of the same, which is where we're at. Because we sit around and we play too many games trying to figure out how we deal with it. Government gets too involved. It becomes even more complex and complicated. And alas, here we are. With her being on the court, even if Roberts, who has sided in the past and been the one to help push Obamacare through, saying this isn't a mandate, it's a tax, it won't matter. And then Obamacare will be in a situation where it's essentially going to be nothing. People are worried about that. The Republicans have put forth theirs. You got to get deep inside of it to see what it's going to look like. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us, text the program as well. It's always, hey, 2 weeks. We got another plan. It's coming in 2 weeks. You're going to like this plan. It's coming in 2 weeks. What's it look like? Just curious. I want to know what it looks like. I want to know how it's really going to play itself out. Masterclass is amazing. They offer all kinds of topics that you can learn from, taught by the world's masters. Talk about the best of the best. Right now, with the political world the way it is, maybe you'd like to learn more about politics. Maybe you'd like to get in-depth look at how politics actually goes, what it's like. How about this? Learn from Karl Rove and David Axelrod, who are going to sit down and explain everything that you need to know about how a campaign is designed, how it's put together. It's awesome. Maybe you want to learn about cooking. They've got the best of the best when it comes to cooking. Wolfgang Puck, I mean, you name it, they're there to teach you everything you need to know about cooking. Little things go a long way. 20 lessons per class, 10 minutes each lesson. You go at your own pace. You can look at it on your phone, on your smartphone, your smart TV, your tablet, and they've got downloaded material to help support you. Many of you out there have asked me, man, I've been very curious about this. And next thing you know, you go and you take this and it inspired you because maybe you want to turn a hobby into a career. You can do that. They'll show you how they go and do their things. It's incredible. Really is. Right now, I recommend you check it out. Unlimited access to every master class just for being a listener to the Chad Benson Show. 15% off the annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Benson. Masterclass.com/Benson for 15% off. Masterclass.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
Yeah, Chad's not, we're struggling. It's not been a good year in Chad. Just want you guys know that. People are like, what's Chad? It's an actual country in Africa. We've had some issues. We're in Central Africa. I'll give you guys a breakdown of Chad. N'Djamena is our capital. About 16 million people. It's tough. If you want to fly to Chad, it's about 23 hours. So you're looking. We got Nigeria, South Sudan, Sudan, Egypt, Libya, Niger, all next to us. It's just not a great. We have some issues. What I'm trying to say is, it's a place that we struggle a little bit. Just letting you guys know that we struggle a little bit, just a smidge. TikTok, baby. It's not going anywhere.
On Sunday, a federal judge issued a ruling postponing President Trump's order that would have banned the video sharing app from app stores starting at midnight. The government claims TikTok's owner has close ties to the Chinese government and poses a security threat because of it. The judge said banning it, however, was a violation of the company's First Amendment rights. The move gives TikTok more time to finish a deal in the works with U.S. companies Walmart and Oracle.
And that'll be interesting to see how that goes. So I understand it. It's the world's most popular app right now. It's growing fast. It's fun to watch. You can get addicted. Like, you can go in there and you can watch all kinds of fun stuff. Kids love it. The issue is it's China, and the Chinese have a history of taking things and looking for certain things in everything. And this would be a one chance for them to really look at the individual in a much different way. And I'm not talking about the average Chinese person, because you got to preface that. Because people are, oh, God, you're so racist. But let's be real. The communistic government likes what they do more than they like what we do. And if they can influence or play a game, they will. They can steal information, they will. You think Facebook and Instagram could do it? You don't think the Chinese government do it? You're a fool. You're a fool. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Everybody's going to be talking about is there's a New York Times story that came out about an hour ago that says that when you came into the White House, you were paying about $750 a year in federal income tax. In your tax return, sir, does that sound right that you were paying a couple $100s a year in federal income taxes?
No, it's fake news. It's totally fake news. Made up, fake, totally fake news.
How much news? Fake news. How much of it? All of it. Everything's fake news. Of all the news, that's the fakest news. It's pretty scathing, but also there's no criminality. I haven't seen it. Even people that are like, well, he should pay a lot more than that. Well, is anything criminal? Well, there's no criminality in it. The criminality is somebody can make that much money. Yeah, but you're not taking in, did they lose money? Remember, this isn't one of those things where you get a paycheck every 2 weeks, right? So $1,000, let's just round, just easy. And in that $1,000, they say, well, you know what? You also lost $400. Wait, what? I lost? How did I lose? Because you weren't profitable. So we had to take some of that away. You lost X amount of dollars, and we take some and we put it towards the stuff that's going on here at work, advertising, purchasing a new equipment, et cetera, et cetera. And so you lost that $400. Okay. So you can pay taxes on that $600. Not the $1,000. What if you get your paycheck is all gone? Because that would be different. Should you have to pay taxes on the $1,000 you didn't make because you lost the $1,000 elsewhere? It doesn't work that way. Now, you get pissed at the system. I got zero problems. I've always said, just do a flat tax. X amount of dollars pays this, X amount of dollars pays this, X amount of dollars pays this. We move on with our life. You know, it's a one sheet like they do in certain places like Holland and Japan where you get a one sheet. It says, here it is, click, there you go. That's how much you paid. We're moving on with our lives. That's it. That's it. But we don't live in that world. We live in a world where we've got people who put money into companies. And I'm not just talking about the billionaires and quadrillionaires. If you start a small business, you're putting money into that business. You're taking money that you've saved up and you're putting it in that business. You're on the hook for that. You get employees, you're on the hook for that. If you lose everything, your employees aren't paying you back. They may have lost your job, but you've lost everything and you're on the hook for stuff. Take away the incentive to do that, you'll take away the incentive for people to invest in businesses across the board. Did he do anything illegal? Based on this, not that I can see. Now they say they've got more coming out. How big of a story is it? Brian Stelter, hair on fire, even though he's got no hair.
This is one of the most important stories of the past 5 years. It's because as a candidate, Donald Trump fought hard to shield his tax returns. And as president, he has fought even harder to shield his tax returns from public scrutiny. So this is the kind of information that we are going to be hearing about for days and weeks to come, and including on the debate stage in front of 60, 70, 80 million people on Tuesday night. No doubt Joe Biden will be studying this New York Times story and thinking about how to bring it up at the debate.
Settle down. We'll see if that's true. People are frustrated. Watching CNN today just like rail on this. It was just funny because I was flipping around because I was watching golf in the morning. I watched a little recap of yesterday's golf and flipped over. I thought, well, I'll watch a little bit of this just to see whose hair was on fire. And there's always hair on fire because that's how you do it, right? You go, you just say the most insane things. And in doing so, what are you looking for? You're looking for the clicks. Right? This is the audience. This is the niche audience I have now. I need the clicks. I need the likes. I need the shares. I need people to read through. I need people to click on it. I need all of these things, the likes, everything. So this is the most important thing in the history of important things in the history of important things. This is what it does. It does nothing. If you liked Trump yesterday, you still like him. If you didn't like Trump, there's another reason not to like him. That's where we are. He's cash poor, asset rich. There's no doubt. He owes hundreds of millions of dollars in loans. But I dare say if you take all the properties he has and you add them up, he's probably a decent amount to the good plus. For some, they're just going to say he's an idiot, doesn't know what he's doing. Well, the idiot paid $750 in 2 years. Well, he's got a lot of stuff that's come due. He does. And that's something that people are worried about. Is he in a position where he's compromised potentially when it comes to the outstanding dollar bills?
Here's what's new. His brand is I'm strong. His brand is I'm independent. His brand is nobody can tell me what to do. If it turns out he is a weak loser who's in hock to other countries, he's basically not in office trying to solve your financial problems. He's in office trying to solve his own. And he's now vulnerable to anybody who can call these loans in. That's a very different discussion. This isn't just shenanigans as usual from Donald Trump, for which he's already inoculated. This dude is in desperate need for money.
Shenanigans. Doot, 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 doot. Shenanigans. Doot, 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 doot. Shenanigans. Doot, 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 doot. Bloomberg opinion piece today. Timothy L. O'Brien says essentially that Trump has been compromised. What trade-offs would a president with this level of indebtedness be willing to make to save face? Is that real? According to the Times, Trump has about $420 million in debt, which he has personally guaranteed, which are coming due over the next several years. Trump's debt were nearly $500 million, will come due in a relatively short order, says Russ Choma, Mother Jones, last summer. Trump's total indebtedness is about $1.1 billion. Now you have to ask yourself, what are his assets? What's Mar-a-Lago worth? Right? What is the property in Manhattan worth? Those are the things you start adding up. What is this worth? I don't know. 150 million here, 300 million there, 2.5 million there. And you start adding things up and say, all right, well, he's to the good. Like if he's worth, and he's probably on paper, like a lot of these guys are, everything's on paper. Elon Musk, what are you worth? He didn't know what he's worth. I don't know. What's it say I'm worth? You're worth $80 billion. All right, there you go. And it's not like I have $80 billion in the bank. But does this matter? To the average person who likes Trump, they could care less. To the person who hates Trump, this is a huge deal. Is he put into a situation where there could be serious issues? Prove it. You have to show that. Has he done anything legal? Again, prove it. Show it. If you can do that, then we're talking. Outside of that, the average person's going to look around and say, oh, I don't know. Doesn't matter to me. And does it matter to you? I never cared about Trump's taxes. I don't care about Biden's taxes. I didn't care about Bernie's taxes. I don't care about anybody's taxes but my taxes. Well, you should, but I don't. I don't. And this will piss people off. But they're always pissed. So the people that are pissed off at this are pissed off every day at something. He didn't handle COVID right. He didn't do this right. He didn't do that right. The people who love Trump, they'll defend him at all costs. He didn't do this because you guys said he did it and it ended up being a lie. This was fake news over here. Everybody's got their own spin on it. At the end of the day, you're going to make your decision, and one of the biggest things going into that will be what happens over the next 3 debates, first one being tomorrow night.
President Trump has to do something to shake up the race, to draw some blood from Joe Biden. But the job for Biden is huge as well. He's got to reassure people. There's still a small sliver of undecided voters out there. President Trump's voters have more enthusiasm. He's got to reassure people that he's not the socialist that President Trump keeps saying he is, that he's up to the job. And if he does that, I think that's going to be enough for him in this debate.
It could be, right? Could be enough. But you've got to really go a long way. And it's not, this is the thing. It's not just whether or not he can convince people, look, I'm not a socialist. There has to be more to that. A lot of people out there, and I think there'll be 70, 80 million people tomorrow. About 5 million people will be truly undecided. There'll be about 10 million independent voters watching, potentially. 5 million of them are leaning towards one direction or the other. They just really want to see these first 2 debates just to confirm what they're already believing. And I think a portion of those is probably towards Joe. But there is another 5 million or so that are going to be out there who are truly undecided. And one of the things they're worried about is Joe himself, personally, physically. Are you able to do this job? Are you mentally all there?
Your husband has been known to make the occasional gaffe.
You can't even go there. You can, after Donald Trump, you cannot even say the word
I can't
gaffe.
even say the word gaffe?
Nope.
But you not?
Nope. Done. It's gone.
The gaffe issue is over.
Over. So.
It's not. It's not over. It's not over. And let's just take, people are like, oh, Trump does this. Trump is in front of the media 24/7, 7 days a week, all the time. Last Friday, he campaigned in 3 different places during the day, 3 different states, battleground states. Joe Biden was done at noon. 9 days this month, he has not campaigned at all. He's answered no real questions. He'll go on a morning show like a breakfast zoo. Well, it's crazy zoo time. Or go on Charlemagne the God. He'll talk to Cardi B. But where else is he? And not just me, is a person who's got an opinion, but the media side of things are also asking serious questions about, is he up for this? Is he up for this? I think that's a fair question.
That's why I made it a priority my entire career to work closely with you. From the time I got to the Senate 180 years ago, you know.
And now you're ready to fix all the stuff? Tomorrow night's going to be huge. Trump has a chance to really do something, and so does Joe. Both of them have a chance to grab a hold of this thing. Trump to start clawing back where what looks like a situation where he's losing ground in certain battleground states, and to solidify some of those independent voters. And Biden has a chance to allow people to see him in a situation that they haven't seen him with in a long time, and to reassure them, hey, I'm not some super crazy progressive loony. I'm not, somebody who wants to take all of your money away, take all of your guns, and turn us into Venezuela. No, that's not who I am. And I'm also, my faculties are all working, right? I stutter. I make mistakes at times, but hey, I'm here. And Trump has a chance to go in there and say, look at me compared to him. Look at the things I've done. He's been here for 47 years and he hasn't done the things he said he's going to do. I've done a lot of things, and you guys miss out on that because you're too busy focusing on the reality television show. Both have a chance. We'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. All right, kids and kittens. Amazing organization, Wounded Paw. I got an email last week from somebody who used Wounded Paw to... It's just amazing. Their child struggled with autism. They're a first responder. And they got a dog from Wounded Paw. And it has made a difference in their life. So Wounded Paw rescues dogs. Sometimes dogs are the worst of the worst dogs. You would think, that dog can't be rescued. You need to put it down. 2 dogs they rescued here in Arizona were fighting dogs. And guess what? One of those dogs is now with that child. And it is amazing. They help first responders, vets, and their families. And the veterans right now, the amount of suicide that is going up has increased by 20% this year is huge. Having an animal in their life that can help them with PTSD and injuries is a life changer. Wounded Paw needs your help. Their motto is to save a paw is to save a life. They rescue these animals. You can donate in several different ways. They take cash. You can go to smile.amazon.com, set your supporting group to Wounded Paw Project, or better yet, take action today and turn your extra car, truck, RV, even a boat into a vehicle for change. See for yourself the works they're doing. All of the proceeds are used to protect, advocate, and transform shelter dogs and service dogs for veterans, first responders, and their family. Call 844-678-4PAW, or better yet, go to woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. Chad Benson Show.
Darn, that climate change. Batten down the hatches. It's Topical Storm Chad, headed your way.
To double down a bit, and I don't mean close. When I say that, people get concerned that we're talking about shutting down. We're not talking about shutting anything down. We're talking about common sense type of public health measures that we've been talking about all along.
Yes, common sense public health measures. Coronavirus is still here. We may get a vaccine. We could get one tomorrow, but you and I and the average person, we're not going to get that for a while. First responders, people who are in positions where they have compromised immune systems and are at greater risk for suffering from this are going to get it first. The elderly. Okay, so just be a little smart. It's not that hard. You would think it is. You don't have to be a freak about it. People like go to the crazy, like, oh my God, it's either this or it isn't. You wash your hands a little bit more. By that I mean, you know what? You go to the bathroom, you wash your hands. We get that, but maybe after you touched a bunch of stuff, you think, you know what? I'm going to go wash my hands. You wear your mask if you're going to be in situations where you could potentially be around a bunch of other people. All these things, it's common sense. We'll move on from there. We're going to get through this. The one thing that I've been talking about, though, and this is one of those things where they're talking about, look at all the cases, look at all the cases.
Right now, a baseline of 40,000 cases per day is not where you want to be.
No, but who's getting those? So when you hear about cases rising, what you should be concerned with, and in some states they're feeling this a little bit more, but a lot of states, even though there's rising cases, is who's getting them. A 21-year-old is not the same as a 65-year-old with diabetes, heart disease, or an 87-year-old with, tons of chronic illnesses they've had. There's a difference. So look at the hospitals. Look at the hospitalization rate. Here in Arizona, we had an uptick, but we're at the point where virtually got nobody in the hospitals because of COVID. It was like 2%. We're like, oh, that's a win. That's a win. Those things are the things that matter. We'll get through this. We're going to start fighting and getting our economy built back up, because it's always about the economy, stupid. Tomorrow night, big night, huge debate, chance for Trump. This is his championship rounds. He's behind in cards across the country, according to some polls. And I think some of those polls are really skewed, but I do believe that he's up a little bit, Biden. But tomorrow night will be a chance for Trump to have his opportunity to get back in this thing in a big way. And for Biden, it's a chance for him to show everybody he's not insane, he's not senile, And he's not a socialist. It's going to be fun. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on the YouTube. Have a blessed, wonderful day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.